Hello, everyone, and welcome to the April 1st, 2015 installment of Balls Deep Sports Talk with your host, Scotty Ball, coming to you every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time here on WNLMradio.com. And I'd just like to take a quick moment here to thank someone, and that someone is you, the listeners. I really look forward to and enjoy bringing you guys this show every week here on Wednesday nights. I am enjoying myself beyond what words can say, and I'm just so thankful for this opportunity, and without you guys listening, I can't do this anymore. So thank you so much for tuning in and allowing this show to continue to happen every week. Thanks. Yeah. And also, in addition to the listeners, I would also like to thank Nick and Adam and everyone at Northern Lights Radio for helping make this show happen too. Thanks, guys. All right, now if you tuned in last Wednesday, it was probably my favorite show yet that I've ever done here on Balls Deep Sports Talk. I had a special guest in. We were talking the big WrestleMania extravaganza that went down this last Sunday. We went way over our 60-minute time slot for the show, and we couldn't have had more fun doing it. Now, we will be recapping the WrestleMania events at some point briefly here in the show tonight, I hope, and it is possible that I will be able to get our special guest from last week, Mr. Doug Sanders, to return for that small segment. However, I will be trying to keep most of this week's show focused on the real competitive sports, the major sports, the team sports, the individual sports, the pro sports, and even some college sports. But like I said, I will recap what went down at WrestleMania 31 this last Sunday and on Raw the following Monday for a brief period later in the show. Alright, now before we get started with Balls on Fire, just a few quick plugs. If you are not following the show on Twitter, you need to do that. You can find it at BDST Show. That's what the Twitter page is called, BDST Show. Please follow me on Twitter. It's a great way to keep up with the show. I repost a lot of sports news on the Twitter. I also repost the SoundCloud links to re-listen to the show after it airs here on Northern Lights Radio from 9 to 10. And it is by far the easiest and most convenient way to communicate with me, where you can ask me questions or give me feedback, and I can talk about that on the show. So again, please follow the show on Twitter at BDST Show. Now, for those of you who prefer Facebook, you can like me and friend me, Scotty-Ball. I have two different pages. You'll be able to tell it's me by the show logo. It's pretty obvious. But again, you can find me on Facebook as well to keep in touch with the show that way, Scotty-Ball. And one last bit of information here, and then we'll get started. We are very shortly, or very soon I should say, we will have the website up and running, which will be great. That's right. We are going to have bdsports.com, an official website for the show, which will have every episode of the show that has ever been recorded listed in the archives, and you can go back and relive and re-listen to and enjoy any episode that we've ever done here at any time you like. And again, that should be up within the next few weeks, and I assume there will also be very easy ways for you to communicate with me via the website once that is up and running. So again, keep an eye out for bdsports.com coming up here within the near future. Alright, well, there's been a lot in the sports world that has happened since the last time we spent time together, which would have been a week ago this same time. And there is also a lot of very interesting stuff coming up here in the near future as well. So we will be recapping and previewing quite a bit of stuff here on the show tonight. I will do my very best to get in everything and do it within the 60-minute time limit. I have not been good at that so far, but maybe, who knows, this could be the week. So, this week we start the show as we usually do which is with a segment I like to call Balls on Fire. Basically, what's got me, Scotty Ball, the most fired up, whether it be outraged or excited or what have you. Now, a little bit about me personally. I am a huge football fan, primarily NFL. I love NFL football. Well, there isn't a whole lot going on in the football world to be fired up about at the moment. We're still waiting on the draft yet. That's what we're looking forward to. That comes up at the end of the month here. We got 4 more weeks. 4 weeks from tomorrow, the NFL is the first round of the NFL draft, and I cannot wait. I will be sitting on my couch with some snacks and something to drink and my phone and my notebook with my mock that I did sitting next to me, and I will be watching every pick go by anxiously, waiting to see what the Vikes do and all the other teams in the league and how it all plays out. And again, I will be doing that from the comfort of my home on my couch. Now, I make a point to stress that because there are some other people who have chosen, at least as of now, they have chosen to enjoy the draft the same way that I'm going to be enjoying the draft. That's at my house with my family, relaxing. You're probably like, well, so what? Isn't that how everybody does it? Well, yes, that's how every fan would enjoy the NFL draft, but that's not usually how players, especially, players being drafted. I mean, it's not how the upcoming players in the draft usually enjoy it, at least not if they're a big name, right? I mean, every year Roger Goodell sends out somewhere between 20 and 40 invitations to the best of the college prospects that are entering the draft, and they come to New York or wherever the draft is, and they wear their tuxes, and they come walk out when their name's announced, and they get their jersey from their team, and they get interviewed by all the people there and stuff, and that's how it goes. Well, at least that's how it usually goes, but it might not go that way this year, and that's something I have a problem with. In fact, I have a huge problem with this. But let me set it up and tell you what's going on, in case you don't know. So, in this upcoming draft, which takes place in 4 weeks, like I said, the number 1 overall pick is expected to be quarterback Jameis Winston. The other quarterback who is for sure going to go in the first round, the only other quarterback that's probably going to go in the first round, and could go as high as the second pick, or maybe even the first pick. They could surprise us. Tampa Bay could surprise us at 1 and take Marcus Mariota instead of Jameis Winston. But Marcus Mariota will be picked likely somewhere between number 2 and number 20. He definitely won't fall past the Eagles at 20, I don't think. But, so those are the 2 most high-profile players at the most high-profile position in all of football. Like I said, they're guaranteed to go in the first round, and they're the only 2 quarterbacks that are likely to go in the first round. They have both been invited to attend the draft, as, like I said, 20 to 40 of the top players every year are, and they're certainly among those players. However, both Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, as of today at least, plan on not attending the draft, which is being held in Chicago, Illinois. I'm pretty darn sure. I could be wrong. It's usually in New York City at Radio City Music Hall, but I'm pretty sure it's in Chicago this year. But anyway, both Jameis Winston, number 1 pick in the draft, and Marcus Mariota, possibly the number 2 pick in the draft, do not plan on attending the draft at all. They are going to be, Marcus Mariota, who lives in Hawaii, plans on being in Hawaii with his family. And Jameis Winston, who wants to spend the moment with his family, as well, has a grandma who is not medically fit to travel, and thus he has decided that he is going to be at her house or their house or whatever, so that they can watch it together on TV and share that moment together, be in the same place at the same time. For the record, I have a huge problem with this. Huge Huge problem with this. No, I know. I can hear you already. I can hear where you're coming from already. They want to. It's a once in a lifetime moment, and they want to spend it with their family and their loved ones. How can you have a problem with that? I don't have a problem with why they want to not attend the draft and why they want and would enjoy to spend it the way that they have announced they plan on. I don't have a problem with any of that. I have a problem with the final choice that they are making. It's completely unprofessional. Immensely unprofessional. You could also call it selfish. You could call it immature. You could call it short-sighted. All kinds of things. I have a huge problem with this. I can't recall any time since I've been following pro football, which has been more years than I'm going to say on air, because that would potentially give away my age a little bit. But since I have been following football in the past, long time, I do not recall a draft ever where the number one pick in the draft said, I'm not going to show up because someone I want to share the moment with can't make it to the draft site, so I'm just going to stay at home with that person and watch it on TV. I don't ever recall that happening. And that's what they're saying. That is exactly what they're saying. It's not like these college players who haven't been paid yet to play, because they're basically the NCAA slaves and the university slaves, other than the free education. Don't get me wrong, that's real nice. But these guys don't have money. Like, Jameis Winston isn't rich yet. Marcus Mariota isn't rich yet. I get that. But that's not a problem. The NFL, when they invite these people, they pay room and board and airfare and have these giant round tables that I'm sure if you've ever watched the draft before on TV, you've seen these giant round tables on the floor with one of the top players at it and their girlfriend or wife sitting next to them and their mom and their dad and their grandma and their brother and their other brother and the neighbor down the street and their best friend. I mean, there's 6 to 10 people sitting at these tables with the player that they're there with. So it's not like the NFL isn't doing everything that they possibly can to accommodate these players so that their loved ones and family members can be there present with them to share in the moment. They do as much of that as they could possibly be asked or expected to do. Well, what if I have more friends and family and loved ones than that where I can't leave anybody out? Well, too freaking bad. That's life. You can leave somebody out. Sorry. I just don't understand how in the most important event of your professional career that you would choose to not attend it. And I'll tell you this. If I was Jameis Winston's grandma, for example, I'll play the role of Jameis Winston's grandma. If he chooses not to go to the draft because he wants to be hanging out with me and wants to share the moment with me and I can't travel, I am going to slap him upside the face if I'm his grandma. And I'm going to tell him, listen here, this is a once in a lifetime moment for you. You will only have this moment once in your life. You can't choose to not be there for it. We can, if you're a family member, we can hang out and celebrate it whenever we want. But you can't not be there for your own biggest moment of your career. But that's exactly what both Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston have chosen to do at the current moment. At least that's what their plans are as of right now. Well, and now so far we've just mostly talked about some of the personal aspects of it. We haven't even gotten into the actual professional aspects of this story. Now, let me be on record right now.